Hello, my name is Hakeem Ruiz, the new Care Center Director of Philadelphia and Camden. Previously, I was in the social work field working for an organization called Philadelphia Anti-Violence, Anti-Drug Network as a case manager. We would be responsible for at-risk youth who are trying to avoid being charged permanently, so we're working their charges off. And aside from that, I was doing my own work as vice president of the Block Gives Back, a community organization that's just here for whatever Philadelphia's current needs are, whether it be street cleaning, needing food assistance, or anything we could do even down to a school bag during back-to-school time. So we started the Block Gives Back because we wanted to do something a little different. We always noticed we were kind of rebels at the high school, me and a group of friends. So we initially were the Block, and then years later when we decided we wanted to start, trying to impact the community, finding a way to connect with the less fortunate population in our city, finding out what their needs were, we established the Gives Back portion, where we started a GoFundMe, and that raised $1,200 when we only expected 200, and that in turn created an opportunity for us to make consistent events, consistent opportunities for the community to get involved, and just finding ways to keep this brand pushing forward. So we created the Block Gives Back, which is just a world of people in the nonprofits area, region and whatnot, that allows people to really be themselves and are welcomed no matter what their background is and no matter what their situation is. So Gucci, my pride and joy, she was about 1 year old when my older brother found her. He was living in an apartment building that he just moved into, and it was snowing one particular day. He was walking home, and she followed him home. She had a broken arm, like you could tell, it was obvious. And he took her in. I remember I was in high school, I want to say I was a sophomore around that time, and I would be at his house every day, just loving to play with this dog. I've never had a dog, I've never had a pet of any sort, a cat, a fish, anything. So I didn't realize that at the time, how much that was going to mean to me, to have a family pet. And then there was also things that I've grown to notice that was kind of a resentment. My mom would tell me, come home, and I never wanted to come home, and it wasn't because I wanted to break the rules, I just wanted to be with that loving thing. And eventually my older brother, he went to jail, and there was no one to take care of the dog. So this was at the time I graduated high school, and he was arrested, I want to say November 28th. My birthday is December 9th, and I vividly remember that birthday just crying on the floor with her because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know if we were going to be able to stay in that house. My mom didn't like animals, so I really had to make a decision. I'm going to get us out of here. I'm going to get us out of this situation. And it happened 4 more times. Every time we had to find a new place to live, I really had to think about taking my dog with me. Every step of the way, I had to consider her. And it grew me as a human because you become so selfless for what you don't even notice is just at your house. And every day I'm thinking, I have a purpose. I have something that is waiting for me. I have to feed this animal. And when her life expired last year, to go home and feel no presence, no energy, no one's waiting for you. It's unbelievable how big her presence was felt. I never was able to call her. I never was able to speak and hear that she loved me, but to be able to give my love to her is what kept me sane all these years. To not have certain things in life, not that I'm not blessed or not that I'm not fortunate, but more so just to know that I never even considered it because I was able to go home and I felt like I had everything. No matter what mess she left for me that day, I was able to figure out I need to, make sure I got the money to buy this food. Spending my last to buy $50 dog food because I didn't want to buy the $20 stuff. I didn't want to buy something that wasn't going to be good for her. And I didn't want to go places that wouldn't allow her, and that taught me discipline. If my friends say, hey, can you come over? And it's in the month of July, no. I got to bring my dog. There's fireworks going on. She's terrified. And all of that just made me such a much more mature, patient man because it all was about someone else at all times. My back seat was never an actual seat. It was always a bench for my dog to lay in. When I went to the beach with her for the first time, I went with a friend. And after that, I never found someone to go to that beach with her again. But we went 4 times that year, or that summer, I think. And it was just such a zen and peace for me to be able to see my dog be so happy and be in an environment with other people that are just like me, just bliss. Dogs running around, not even acknowledging the owners, but to be with her in that state was just everything for me because I knew there's going to be a day that I didn't want to speak of. And when that month came, I was on vacation. She was my older brother had to take her to the vet, and then we found out she was diagnosed with cancer. That was a horrible day for me. I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to think, and I was unprepared. So that month, I pretty much ignored everything I could. I tried to even stay out of the house at times because I knew the energy I would feel in there. But I did not want to let her go, and I had to. That was another thing that taught me more discipline. It was another part of the mission that, she was supposed to put me on. The path of a dog that was astray, that wasn't supposed to be in my family. She taught us everything. Well, taught me, and then it brought the family back together because everyone seen how it affected me. Her last day, everyone was there. I don't get my family together often. We don't get together for birthdays like that. And I was able to see my mom get there, my sisters, my cousin. We took a picture with her, and she walked up the hill. And it was the last day we got to see her, but she walked herself into that room. And I just remember thinking how proud I was of my dog because I firmly felt like she knew what was going on. And she knew that was her way of saying, like, I can do this, but you got to let go. And it was so difficult. Thankfully, my older brother was there with me at the time. It was his dog too, but I didn't talk to anyone for a week after that because I felt like no one would understand. There's so much unspoken in 10 to 13 years in a household with just me and her. And, for me, moving to different cities and trying to get away and still making sure there's someone at the house that's going to take care of her, making sure she has everything she needs, making sure I'm sending money back home. And all of that is just so much joy to look back on, even though it causes me tears. But it's just like, I'm so blessed to have had that in my life by coincidence. And I could have just been like most people who said, hey, I'm 19. Actually, I was 18 at the time. I don't have a job. I don't have a career path. I don't even have a place to stay. How can I take in this other life? But I took it in, and I never looked back. I learned so much and met so many great people. And people met me through my dog. When they, see that she's not around, or better yet, certain neighbors would come by and ask, hey, where's Gucci? And they'll just see my reaction. And they would break. Because they know they never see me walk around the neighborhood with a friend. They never seen me, just causing any disturbance, or even I'm very, quiet in my neighborhood. But people would always see me sitting on the porch for hours with my dog because I wanted to be outside with her. We could have been inside, but I wanted to be outside with her because that's what she wanted. She took after me in so many ways. And just in general, is such a blessing to have ever had her in my life because I never valued something so much. I look to other things as my value system, whether it be how people, react to certain things, or how some people find passion in their sport or their hobby or whatever. I didn't really have a hobby, but I loved my dog. And I made that known no matter where I went. Whether it be, hey, it's 11, I gotta get back. My dog needs to eat tonight. And I can't stay over because I need to go to my dog. Or can I bring my dog if I do stay over, type of thing. And that's not convenient with a 40-pound dog for most people. So it really taught me a lesson also of go where you're appreciated, not just tolerated. And that's why I'm so thankful to this day of the man who allowed me to rent his apartment and just pay a little extra fee to take my dogs. He's seen what that meant to me. My future landlords, they all seen what it meant to me to keep my dog in my life. And, to not have her here today is a reminder that I've always got to look out for people like that. It's going to continue to affect me moving forward. It was Gucci. This was probably destiny for me at this point because, like I said, I didn't need to take in the dog, but I wanted to. And then, so many years later, ironically, as I'm pretty much fully processing my own growth, November 18th, I distinctly let that day stand out, is when I got over my depression. I was depressed from the day she passed, which I try not to put in my mind. It was some point in August, I believe. But that point from August to November 18th, I finally getting out of the depression, becoming myself again. I met you guys some point in April, which is a month that I usually start to, spring forward. I feel good. I get my energy back with the Block Gives Back. We do a lot of events in the spring. But May 5th is her birthday. So when I asked you guys for the week in between jobs, it was just like perfect. I get to celebrate for the last time, my best friend. And sure enough, everyone came by. Big party, big celebration. And it was kind of like celebrating a new life, which is my new life. Like, I've always thought of certain things, being somebody that likes to travel, being somebody that wants to, grow with endless opportunities. Having a dog at home could be somewhat of a restriction, but she let me go on to what her next chapter is, and like my next chapter just so happens to be something that would benefit 18-year-old me. If 18-year-old me found C.A.R.E, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. Like, I would know that there's hope. I would know that there's people that care about a minority in a situation that's unfavorable, that cares about an animal. And that type of thing is going to be, so much bigger for the future, just what we can build here, because there's people like me every day that just need that assistance, need that information that we can provide, or at least just showing them that there's others that like you, people that are going through similar things, that lean on these companions for support. And I truly feel like it was destiny for her birthday to be the week before I start, and the sky is the limit now. And ironically, the same empathy that made me want to start the Block Gives Back, same empathy that made me want to take in my brother's dog, come from those same exact places. My older brother was always the one that looked out for me, and I never had to ask for anything. My parents weren't poor by any means, but I literally never had to ask for them for anything in high school. My brother gave me his old clothes. He fed me. He would call me every day, make sure I was good. He got me on his phone plan. So the love that he gave me, I wanted to return to others. And also, that was the only way I knew how to love. That was the only way I knew how to embrace and give connections. So when it came to meeting the people that we called the Block, that friend group, everyone was the same way. We were all outcasts in our own way, and we were like, hey, we're going to take care of you. We got $7 between us. Let's give it to Tommy so we can get in his car, because he's the only one with a car, and we're going to get around. We're going to have a great time. Everyone seemed to be working towards common goals. Everyone seemed to be willing to connect for a better purpose, whether it be, hey, we want to watch the fight tonight, or hey, we want to do something together, something positive. We didn't want to just go out to parties. We wanted to create cookouts and new atmospheres for ourselves, take trips. Those things all built me up to be a more empathetic person, because it was like, hey, if I have it, and thankfully I was always in a position, financially at least, to have money in my pocket, but I could say, hey, I'll pay for you to go. Or you don't have that? Here, I have this shirt on right now. Take my shirt. Things like that. And literally even down to, embracing Gucci and having to bring her in. Whenever a friend is saying they need to go on vacation, don't even think about paying me. I'll watch your dog, sure. Like, if you want to pay me, that's awesome. But, like, I want you to go on the trip. And I will also want you in turn to potentially do the same for me. I'm not asking a favor for a favor, but I want to put this good energy into the air. The same way that prior to my brother being incarcerated, he gave me the opportunity to take care of his dog. And it wasn't just because I was there. He believed that I could do it. And I want to instill those values in other people as well. That's like, hey, you may not have, the means to go on this trip with me today, but if I take care of you, I want you to know that, like, hey, I believed in you. That's why I did that. And, my brother set me up with maybe the last bit of money he had from his cell to still say, go take her to the vet. And little things like that are, not every sign's going to scream at you and tell you it's a sign, but that one is clear as day. Think about others, worry about others, and be prepared for everything, no matter what it is. Not everyone's facing an opportunity that they'll end up behind a cell, but that was his circumstances, and he prepared money on the side to make sure his dog was taken care of and had someone there. And that's going to just be able to continue to teach responsibility and empathy, because the values that I got from him, I passed along to my friends. My friends then create a nonprofit organization that takes care of a whole city. And in turn of that, we're all good people ourselves. My partners are taking care of children. I took care of a dog. And whenever we needed something, whether it be a sitter or I just needed to talk to someone about what I'm going through with my dog, people shared that same energy with me. And it's only right to just be empathetic. In a city that is like Philadelphia, where it's so cutthroat, yet it's called the city of brotherly love, sometimes you have to just have blind faith in things and just believe that if I, commit to this person, if I commit my energy to this business, they're going to have my best interest in mind. And if they don't, you did it for a good purpose still, and it's going to pay off. Somebody's going to appreciate these efforts. And there was no better teacher of that than my best friends, my brother, and my dog, which were the closest people to me. So in the years of just working throughout different communities, I've seen a lot of great relationships with kids and animals, and I've also seen some that aren't as great, but it's not necessarily because they chose to not be great in this relationship. They just haven't been informed or encouraged to do so yet. Being informed versus being just suggested or supported, or just some form of something opposite than being educated, I feel like is embracing the fact that you know your pet, that you know what you want out of your pets as well. You can educate me to something without having a certain demeanor about it, or pretty much putting me down, saying like, "Oh, you're an uneducated person." No, it's like I know what my pet likes, and I also know what I like to do with my pet. But if you want to encourage me to go about it a different way, please, attempt to convince me or encourage me, inform me. But you don't need to treat me like I'm lesser or like my dog is behind. I need you to understand that we have a set of circumstances that you might not have had. I feel like it is very important for our community to have ourselves reflected into the people we see in power in the animal welfare care field, because you're going to look for someone that understands the situation you've been into, and if not, at least understand the type of lifestyle you live. I need people that understand. I need people that are automatically willing to hear me out, and also people that understand that when you look at a certain person of color or someone that you can relate to, you're more willing to push the boundary on what you say, and that's in a comfortable way. I see C.A.R.E growing to take care of people like myself when I was 18. There isn't many places to turn when I think of animal welfare, just support. I can go to the nicest vet and they're still going to want to charge me for the time. So to just be able to embrace a community of not just nonprofits, but organizations that just want to care for animals is incredible, because a lot of people's compassion starts from animals, and being in a nonprofit field itself is showing compassion. So which better way to do it than connect the people and the animals together and show them that, hey, we're trying to avoid even having to help out the dogs that need adoption. We want to take care of you before it gets to that point, and then hopefully we never have to worry about saying things like adopt, don't shop, because there's no dogs to adopt. We can cut to the core of the problem and see why these people are having to give up their dogs, see why they're not able to take care of them, and provide them with the resources they need to actually take care of them, grow themselves, and their pets can live their full lives. It is extremely important to be consistent when you're in the field of social work or in the nonprofit field, because you're usually serving underserved communities. And in underserved communities, unfortunately, there has been a lot of displaced dads. You might even have a mom that has a situation. So there are people that you're trying to serve that have strong needs, and one of them is to rely on somebody. One of them is to trust somebody. So when you're not consistent in an area of giving back or trying to be philanthropic, it's only done for yourself in that form. You need to consistently be able to assist these people, or at least be able to hear them out, give them a way to stay in contact, give them some form of hope that if you did assist them, that it's still there or that person still cares. Consistency can be given in any form. It doesn't necessarily need to be in a giving back event or anything of that nature. It literally can just be understanding someone and that they feel that you are willing to hear them out. And that a long time is going to go with just being consistent with checking in on them, consistent with visiting their neighborhood to see what they could use assistance with, or even letting yourself grow with them. The consistency will allow long-term volunteers, long-term people that could turn into potential employees or even program directors. I think there are a ton of Hakeems out there, and it's a shame that they aren't being, their issues aren't being addressed, which is the issue of just not knowing. If we could be in a friendly atmosphere all the time, certain vets that I would take her to were really mean. They were not welcoming. They did not treat an 18-year-old minority pet owner like he was a confused person. They treated me like I was a bit, just a customer. And it needs to be much more compassion in those situations to say like, hey, you on the document here, it says you're the registered owner. Like, do you have a plan for the next 10 years of this dog's life? And that's something that a lot of people need to think of, especially an 18-year-old Hakeem or a 20-year-old Jill, whoever it is. These people need to be aware that this is a commitment that you're signing up for a long time. And it's not only going to affect you, it's going to affect your pet, might affect your household, might affect your living situation. Are you ready for this? And not only are you ready for it, but what supports do you need? What information do you need? If I would have known that not getting my dog fixed, or better yet, I didn't get her fixed early on, and I found out later that that could have affected her lifespan. And it's like, wow, I really wish I would have known that. In my mind, I was doing something to her that she didn't want done. So it was harmful. I'm thinking I'm in her best interest. But it's just little things like that that a younger person like me in my situation could have really benefited from knowing. And also just understanding the value that I'm getting every day with certain people who are, passionate about pets and animals in general. They can tell you how much of a blessing it is to be with a dog like this who doesn't bark, that doesn't bite, that doesn't jump all over people and make them scared. This is a welcoming dog that you're going to learn a lot from, not just because you take care of them, but because your patience is going to grow immensely. And there's young people that are going to be able to grow so much and should be encouraged to have dogs or encouraged to have a pet of any kind, because it's going to teach them a lot. And we should not be, just treating them like they're another piece of money coming in, or even just as if they aren't prepared to have a pet. We need to prepare them, because these are the ones that are going to gain the most from it. You can have a family pet, which is great, but it's going to be taken care of by a family. When it comes to an individual that's starting out in life, yes, it's a challenge for them, and it's a risk to embrace a pet, but there's so much to learn from it. There's so much to get out of it. And I just think it's a whole unaddressed area of just life in general, not even just in the pet animal welfare world, but in the world of growing up. When people choose your path, you can choose college, you can choose the work world, or you can choose to be a human. And coming with that, you need to learn compassion, and you can learn compassion the best from an animal.